Hey, ¿qué onda, bandera criptonera? Bienvenidos a un video más. En este video vamos a ver una entrevista que le hice a Charlie. Apenas acabo de terminar la edición, le agregué los subtítulos y yo sé, hay muchos subtítulos, más bien, todos los subtítulos no tienen acentos. No tengo un teclado que tiene el lenguaje español, entonces, perdónenme esa, no hay acentos y de por sí me tomó bastantes horas traducir todo el video. Espero que lo disfruten, espero que aprendan y si les gusta, compartan, denle like y ya saben todo ese rollo que a mí me da una hueva tener que repetir. Así que ya no digo nada más, vean el video y díganme en los comentarios qué opinan. Nos vemos a la siguiente, bye. Alright, let's do it. What's Mimble Wimble? What's Mimble Wimble extension and why should we be excited about it?
So the upgrade feature is called MWeb.
Uh-huh.
Um, it stands for Mimblewimble extension blocks. So Mimblewimble is a technology. It's technology. It's basically a confidential transaction, which means you're blinding the amounts. You're hiding the amount so that only the recipient and sender knows the amount being sent, and everything else is cryptographically hidden. So everyone else can cryptographically prove that the sender didn't create Litecoins out of thin air. But other than that, they can't tell exactly how many coins were sent, what was received, what was in change. So that's just for more fungibility. So also financial privacy, right? Everyone has a right to financial privacy. If I send coins to someone else, no one else should know how many coins I have. Um, so that's what another thing about Mimblewimble is that it uses something called cut through, which is it basically combines all the inputs and outputs into one huge transaction, just to save on space. So it's very scalable. So unlike a lot of the other privacy tech out there like Monero and Zcash, Mimblewimble is a lot more scalable. So the size of the blockchain won't grow like exponentially from this transactions, or won't grow huge. So that's important for a coin to scale. So that's why we decided to choose that, and we're doing it using something called extension block. It's basically, you can think of it like a side chain that is attached to the main chain. So every block, Litecoin block moving forward after activation, will have a extension block attached to it, which has all the Mimblewimble transactions. So MWeb stuff is all on the extension block, and you can move coins between the two. So you can peg in or peg out. In other words, transferring your coins to MWeb and then transferring coins out of MWeb if you want to go back to the main chain. So this is a soft fork optional upgrade. So things places like exchanges may not support the Mimblewimble side of things, and that's perfectly fine, right? So they will support the main chain, and if you want to deposit coins and your coins are in MWeb, you would peg out, or you can send directly from the MWeb side to a normal Litecoin, not normal, but like the current Litecoin address that the exchanges support, and the coins will peg out of MWeb to the exchange wallet. And you can do that yourself also. And vice versa. If someone has a MWeb address, you can send coins directly to that MWeb address from any coins you have, whether it's on the MWeb side or whether it's on the main chain side.
And who's actually confirming or mining the extension blocks? Is it the miners? Is it the actual people who run the nodes? Who is actually trying to, I mean, do people actually make money off of these blocks? Like rewards money?
Yeah. So all the nodes MWeb will activate via soft fork. So it's miner activated soft fork with a flag date a year later. So as miners and pools upgrade to the new software, they signal for support, saying that we can now enforce MWeb rules. And once there's 75% of miners signaling support, it will go into the activate state after 2 weeks. So giving time for everyone else to support it. Once it's active, then all the nodes and miners will enforce MWeb, right? So every block will have a attached extension block that has MWeb transactions. It will enforce that people sending coins to the MWeb side works fine, and also vice versa, pulling coins out of MWeb. On the main chain side, all the coins that sit in MWeb are stored in a special address, right? So you can actually see if there are like 1,000 Litecoins on the M website. You can actually see an address holding 1,000 coins that represents all the coins on the M website. Actually, the address changes every block, but you will be able to see that there's more and more coins there, and vice versa. If people take coins out of M web, the coins will come out of that address. Yeah. So once it's activated, all the nodes and miners are enforcing it, right? So if you're running a node, your node would be doing validation on the MWeb transactions and validation on peg-ins and peg-outs and everything.
Okay. Okay, but miners, do they actually have to confirm anything, or it's gonna be on the node side? Do they get any rewards? Like, should we
Yes.
start telling people, "Hey, go ahead and run a Lyco node because you're gonna start making some money on Mimble Wimble extension
Well,
blocks."
like normal nodes don't make money
Uh huh.
from validating Mimble Wimbles or any transactions. Miners get a fee. So just like regular transactions, Mimble Wimble transactions also pay a fee.
Okay.
And that fee goes to miners. So yes, they're doing the work. They also get rewarded for that. So it's the blockchain reward plus the fees.
Okay. Grant, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious, just from your perspective, is this something that when you first started engaging with Bitcoin and Litecoin, that you kind of thought very early on, this is something that I want to tackle down the line? I mean, when was the first time you thought this is something that needs to be addressed?
Um, so when I first found out about Bitcoin, I saw it as like almost perfect money, except for that this one thing, which is fungibility. Obviously, in the beginning, I wasn't thinking too much about that because Bitcoin was so much better than U.S. dollar or gold.
Right.
But over
Still.
time, this became a larger issue, right? Just the fact that financial privacy and fungibility. The things I've run across, I'm sure a lot of people have run across this, which is when you're sending coins, you sometimes have to think, hey, I want to pick the output I want to send, right? Let's say you just bought 1,000 Litecoins off an exchange or whatever amount that you don't want people to know you have, right?
Yeah.
Um, you bought 1,000 Litecoins off an exchange, and if you withdraw into your own wallet, if you go to if you send like one Litecoin to a friend, he will see that you sent 1,000 to him with 999 as change back to yourself, right? So
Right.
that's not something you want to expose. Or if you're getting paid in Litecoin or Bitcoin, you don't want to expose that information to everyone. So that's why people have to actually kind of pick and choose which output they want to send. So Litecoin Core wallet and Bitcoin Core and some other like wallets let you actually say which output to choose. A lot of wallets don't. They just automatically choose the outputs for you, and you have no control then. So
Did you ever have that experience? Like, because I mean, we all know you're an
yeah,
early adopter, right? Where you not even thinking about it, or you sent it, and you went, "Wow, I can't. That information is out there.
yeah.
I'm just,
I mean that's
I
happened.
don't
That's
like
happened
this."
before.
Right.
People then you have to kind of have two separate wallets. One is for larger transactions or if you're trading, right? You don't want people to see all your trades, or versus like a spending wallet which has a smaller amount. People start doing that, right? But that's not great for money. If you don't have to you don't want people to have to think about doing that just for very simple financial privacy reasons, and that's what something like Mimble Wimble really helps. To be fair, it's not perfect, right? It's not perfect privacy. I would say the best privacy today is Zcash, right? It really totally kind of uh,
Is
hides everything.
is it better than Monero? Do you
Yeah,
consider that?
Zcash is. I'm not an expert on privacy tech, but
Mm-hmm.
from what I know, Zcash is better than Monero. The
Okay.
problem with Zcash, it takes a long time to create these transactions, like in the order of minutes to because there's so much uh, crypto going on,
Mm-hmm.
cryptography going on that takes a while to actually create these transactions and send them. So most people don't use the encrypted transactions. Or I don't know what they call it. Um, or the shielded. They call it shielded transactions. Most people don't use shielded transactions on Zcash. Like 90% plus are non-shielded regular transactions. So that's not very useful when when it's not being used. So one key kind of requirement for us is we want to make it simple, right? We want people to be able to use it without have to jump through hurdles. So we make it simple so that if you're sending to an MWeb address, it should just work, right? You don't have to think about pegging coins in; it will just do it automatically for you, and that's how it's working right now. And vice versa, when you're sending to a normal address and your coins are in MWeb, it should just peg out for you automatically.
Okay, that's good because that's exactly what we were discussing, Grant, yesterday on
Yeah.
the podcast. That we don't need liquidity. We don't need a middleman to offer us liquidity to get in or get out,
Yeah, I
right?
would say that's the
Yeah.
misconception I think that's out there early on is just people feeling that it's this layer two, that it's uh, some sort of we have to have parties have to agree to engage with this platform. And that's probably one of the things I love about it the most is the ability to I can choose to use it and you can choose to not use it and we can interact and
Yep.
we can both
Exactly.
do our own thing, right? And that's probably the best.
Compatibility is important. And yeah, it's not layer 2. It's I would like someone could call it a layer 1.5. It's
Right.
not. It's enforced by every miner after activation and every node. So it's kind of like the same as layer 1, but it's not, right? You have to. There's 2 different blocks you have to go between.
It's like you're clocking out of the main chain, but you're not leaving the Litecoin network in some sort of weird.
No.
It's like so
The,
very strange, right?
the,
The most important thing for MWeb for me is that it hides the amount. So because that's it does a perfect job of doing that, of hiding the amount. The other thing about privacy is hiding the kind of um, the history, right? How coins are connected, right? If I send to you, you send to someone else, you can see that chain. Breaking that chain is not perfect on MWeb. It's a trade off, right? So on with Zcash, it is perfect. On Monero, it's mostly good enough. It uses ring signatures. So if you do like 12 or 11, whatever it is today, signatures, then you're basically saying I'm sending to you, but using my output plus 10 other random ones, and you can't really know for sure which one I chose, right? One of them is the real one, so it's kind of hiding, but it's not perfect anonymity, right? And then for MWeb, it's basically the more people that use it, the more outputs get collated into one block, then the harder it is to see who's sending to what. So what I mean by that is if a block has 1,000 transactions, if MWeb block has 1,000 transactions, each transaction is one output sending to one sender sending to recipient. But when it's mining to a block, all the 1,000 transactions get combined into one transaction. So you get 1,000 inputs and 1,000 outputs, and you don't know who's sending to where. All you know is that the amounts added for the inputs equal the amounts added together for the outputs, and that's the kind of what MWeb provides. And of course, you can have a node sitting on a network, like sitting and like spying on every transaction. So because of that, it's not like perfect privacy, and that's not what we're trying to achieve anyways. The most important thing is hiding the amount and making it more fungible and giving people more financial privacy.
if we had a spy node spying on us, can they see who's sending it and who's receiving it, or can they see what amount they're sending?
They can see just the transaction information, right? They can see the inputs and outputs of a specific transaction. Those transactions get relayed to them over the network, so they don't necessarily know who actually sent it. But knowing all that, they can, just like regular Bitcoin Litecoin transaction, you can see the transaction graph.
Okay.
There are ways that you can improve things. So with Mimble, doing coin join is extremely easy. So people can spin up coin join servers, and then you can, in a decentralized manner, join coins and make it harder for people to figure out where the coins are coming from. And you can do that with Bitcoin today, also Bitcoin and Litecoin today. Other things like Dandelion, which is basically when you send out a transaction, you don't send it out to everyone, so not everyone sees it. There's a stem phase where you send it out to one node, that node sends it out to another node, and then after a certain time, it blooms, right? Then the last node would send it to everyone else. So or it will combine all the transactions and then send to everyone else. So it's harder to see who sent what. Things like that we can always add to improve on the fungibility and privacy of MWeb.
Now, I have a question. People usually ask me, is extension blocks, is it going to compete against Lightning Network?
So it's different, right? So Lightning Network, and we haven't looked into it. We can probably do Lightning Network on the MWeb extension block side of things also. It'll probably take a lot more work, but it should be doable. It's different, right? So Lightning Network also still works on Litecoin. It doesn't really compete with MWeb. It has its own trade-offs. So Lightning Network also has privacy, fungibility improvements, low fees, but then there's this, it's harder to use, right? So we're trying to design MWeb so that's easy to use. Lightning Network, you still have to create a channel. There's no like easy way to do that unless it's centralized. Right. So you can have someone else manage the channel for you, then you're just using a centralized server that sits on top of Lightning, which is fine for most people. But it's there, like I said, there are trade-offs.
Do you kind of feel people are going to, ultimately maybe live in MWeb, meaning just put their coins in there and for the most part, that's all they use?
Some people will. And I want to be clear, MWeb is risky, right? It's not battle tested, it's not time tested. It's something new. There are the fact that everything is not transparent is an issue, right? So right now, if Litecoins were created out of thin air but due to a bug, everyone will see it, right? You will break the 84 million total. Everyone will see it. If it's on the MWeb side of things, it'll be harder to spot or next to impossible to spot because everything is hidden, right? So if there's a break in the crypto, which has happened before with other privacy coins where they either implemented wrong, they had a bug, or there's a bug in the crypto itself, right?
It just happened with Solana in Ethereum, the wormhole scam.
Yeah, well, that's not true. That's a hack, not a crypto bug. It's a smart contract hack.
Okay.
But in a similar fashion, yes, you can have. But imagine if things are hidden, right? If that happens and coins were, for this bug, coins would be created out of thin air, and no one would see it. That's happened to some privacy coins before, and it's possible that could happen with MWeb. Knock on wood, that it doesn't. We implemented it well, and also the crypto is good.
Sorry, Charlie. Could that happen on the Lightning Network as well, or no?
You can't print coins out of thin air in the Lightning Network without people seeing it. But what could happen is just channels getting coins stolen, right? That could happen.
Or you could probably represent that coins exist and just hope nobody calls you out on it, right? Nobody asks to withdraw.
No, I don't. It won't be possible because you don't have the underlying channel opening that has the number of coins. Right?
Okay.
So you can't lie about that because it's on the it's backed by regular Bitcoin Litecoin transactions. So the other thing is, mimble technology is solid. It's been tested on other coins like Grin and Beam. So that works well. The downside with that new crypto is that there's a chance something like quantum computing can break that crypto. If quantum computing breaks the cryptography in it, then you can potentially create coins out of thin air. And there are ways around it. When quantum computing is getting closer to be able to break it, we can switch some stuff to make it quantum computing safe. It's different trade-offs that we take, but that's something that we have to keep in mind, that the crypto is still not perfect.
Okay.
And likewise, Bitcoin crypto is not perfect either, right? Right now, if quantum computing comes, you can steal coins from, for example, Satoshi's stash, right? Those coins will be the most vulnerable.
You mean your stash?
Not my stash. I'm talking about the real Satoshi, not the light one.
Not the light one. El Salvador, Charlie, you knew this was coming. We're Latin Americans. what the hell happened in El Salvador? Can you tell us something? Is El Salvador going to start mining Litecoin? Are they going to start accepting Litecoin as legal tender? Can we get excited?
I'm not allowed to say anything about it. Actually sign something.
You can say sí. I mean, you're not breaking technically any laws, and it's in Spanish. You're protected by the
That
law.
might be more dangerous. Yeah.
Is it C as in ABC or C as in yes? Yeah. So we went down there. It was a very productive trip.
You liked it?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't have that much of a chance. I was so busy. I didn't have that much of a chance to actually like walk the streets. I didn't even get a chance to go to Bitcoin Beach, but some other people in my group did. What I did notice is that although Bitcoin is legal tender, there's still a lot of merchants that don't accept it. Right? Mm-hmm. So mom and pop shops, they just don't have internet. It's just like they're selling some like food and they just don't have it. They don't have the infrastructure support for it, so they don't accept Bitcoin, which I think is illegal to not accept Bitcoin.
It is.
Mm-hmm. But it's not like the government's going to crack down on these mom and pop shops and like put them in jail or fine them a large amount of money. So it is what it is. I think it'll still take some time to for that to happen. But I did see quite a few like Shivo wallet booths there that were helping people set up their mobile wallets. There are ATMs all over the place. So it is happening. I think it's great to see kind of Bitcoin being embraced by a country. It's just awesome to see.
Do you see? I like that it's a nudge, and that the government's not going to be too strict about it. They're trying to make it as easy as possible. But I think it kind of goes against the whole idea of crypto to enforce it in any way. So
yeah, I mean they're not. Yeah, it's legal tender, but they're not like they want people to use it because it's actually better, right? Not because they're forced to use it. So they want people to hold their saving, like to actually hold savings in Bitcoin because it's a better form of money, better store of value, and actually use it because it's better to use than US dollar. But still, it's still gonna take some time.
Okay. Did you see any Litecoin being used while you were down there? Did people actually use Litecoin in ATMs or stores?
I did not. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't really looking for it. Just didn't have time to look for it. From what I've heard, that there are ATMs that support Litecoin, that people do use Litecoin. But the fact that people aren't really using Bitcoin yet means that they're unlikely to be using Litecoin. Right?
Okay.
But give it some time.
Do you see any other, maybe other countries? Actually, are any politicians or from other countries contacting you, trying to get Litecoin into their country as legal tender?
No, not that I know of. But they don't really need to contact me, right? That's the beauty of a decentralized cryptocurrency.
Right.
I hope they don't contact me, right? They should just do it. And yeah, so I don't expect countries to contact me about Litecoin. It'd be crazy if they do, but I don't expect that.
I do the Litecoin underground thing, and someday I'm hoping you'll come in there. And I probably have a lot of other things, but I don't know. One question we always talk about, and I just don't know if we want to get into it or not. If we got time, is merge mining. Something that we're trying to build in there is the idea that we're a big crypto community, right? And it's not about excluding people; it's about including people. And Doge is this obvious partner to Litecoin. With the merge mining, we're already associated. And I guess every week I feel like something comes up and we're all a little unclear exactly how this works. So I was reading a little bit about it. I mean, what benefit is it to Litecoin when Doge is doing well? Is there a potential negative when Doge is doing poorly? Or is it just kind of something that's stapled on and it's good for both of us? And would there be more? Is it possible to do more than 2 coins? Is it something you foresee where
like merging 3 or 4 coins?
Yes, Script would be any major player would just bolt on to Litecoin because why not, right?
Sure. So there are quite a few coins that are script mineable,
Yep.
and many of them actually are merge mineable. So Litecoin is the main coin. When a pool or miner is mining multiple coins at once, there's one main coin, and the other coins that are merge mineable have a specific property that allows them to be merge mineable, and then you can mine as many of those as you want, right? But you can only mine one main coin, and in this case, Litecoin is the main coin, and then Dogecoin and all these other coins. There are quite a few, but Dogecoin obviously produces the most today. The others are just minimal, and but pools do mine more than just Litecoin and Dogecoin. There are quite a few other because it's easy to merge mine these other coins, and they just sell it for Litecoin. Yeah. So the thing about merge mining is it basically gives additional income to miners. So initially, when Dogecoin became merge mined with Litecoin miners were getting like maybe 5% more um, of mining rewards than previously. So it's kind of free money, and they just do it. So what that happens is the miners are kind of securing both Dogecoin and Litecoin network, and you're just kind of combining the security um, costs, right? The block rewards and fees are paying for security, and you're combining both Litecoins and Dogecoins payment to secure both coins at the same time. And today, Dogecoin um, block rewards and fees are actually more than Litecoin, right? I think it's like twice as much or even more than that because of recent rise in Dogecoin value.
Elon
So
Musk.
yeah, because Elon Musk. So what that means is it's good for Litecoin, right? So because Litecoin security is now it's more secure because Dogecoin is helping to pay for security on Litecoin also. So it's a win-win. Um, the other thing that is interesting is that Dogecoin doesn't have a Dogecoin's kind of inflation schedule is very different from Litecoin's, right? Litecoin halves every 4 years and eventually goes to almost zero, right? Whereas Dogecoin is constant. Um, every minute, I think it's 10,000 Doge gets
10,000.
created,
Yep.
and that goes on indefinitely, right? So in some sense, in the future, it's possible that Doge would be kind of paying for the majority of the security of both Dogecoin and Litecoin, and that would be interesting to see if that happens. And it will protect Litecoin even when Litecoin is not paying out enough
Like, was
from
that in the
block.
back? Was that the back in the back of your mind? I mean, again, was this an idea that you kind of came up with, and in the back of your mind, where you're like,
That,
this, like looking out 80 years and saying, "Mine with it."
correct. It was something I did think about, but it wasn't clear that that's going to be the case, right? So
Yeah.
Dogecoin, who knew that Dogecoin would come back strong like this? Like most people did not expect that. So it was something that was possible, but it wasn't the main reason why I suggested merge mining to the Dogecoin community in the first place.
All right, I thought maybe and then you
It was-
called Elon and said, "I need you to pump Doge."
if I talked to Elon, I would tell him to pump Litecoin a lot.
All right. Last question that I have for you, Charlie, and is there a risk? All right, two things. Is there a risk that Dogecoin actually move to proof of staking, and if there's a risk, will Litecoin actually move to proof of staking eventually? Do you expect any future where Litecoin actually goes to proof of staking?
Um, is there a chance that Dogecoin moves to proof of stake? Possible. I don't know what their plans are. If they do move to proof of stake, it's not going to affect Litecoin. Um, but if they do move to proof of stake, I would bet there's going to be a split, right? The
Half.
script miners will still mine the non-proof of stake Dogecoin and would push for that. And if it's going to be like the Ethereum and Ethereum Classic split.
Right.
Um, and if there isn't a split and Litecoin miners just all of a sudden don't only mine Litecoin and not Dogecoin, that's not really going to affect Litecoin. Like Litecoin, it's not going to hurt Litecoin that much or at all. So I'm not concerned about that. We'll see what Dogecoin decides to do. But I think currently, like the symbiotic relationship between Litecoin and Dogecoin is working out well for both coins, and I think there's no reason why they need to change it. But if they feel like it, if the community wants to it could happen. As for Litecoin, I'm not pushing for Litecoin to be proof of stake. The community is not.
No.
I don't see any reason why Litecoin would switch to proof of stake. Obviously, if the community all wants it, I'm not going to stand in the way. But from my point of view, well, actually, if the community wants it, it's probably going to split. Right? It's going to be a fork where there's going to be a Litecoin proof of work, there's going to be Litecoin proof of stake. And I'm going to be supporting the Litecoin proof of work side of things. I think proof of work is the better consensus algorithm, especially for money, where decentralization is important. I don't think proof of stake is good enough for money. So I think proof of work will still win in the end.
Do you see any risk? Can coins that run on proof of stake consensus, are they more easily hacked than regular proof of work coins?
No, I don't think the coins will be more easily hacked. It's just proof of stake has its own issues where kind of the people with the most coins kind of control everything, right? So it's, in that sense, it's very similar to what we have today, where people who have money control everything.
Right.
So I think proof of work is better in terms of being more decentralized. But yeah, so that's why I support proof of work over proof of stake. But I don't think it's less secure.
I just it's kind of a big question, but I'm just curious, like, do you ever step back and just get blown away by what this has all become in a matter of 10 years?
I'm always blown away, right? When Litecoin hit $1 billion market cap, I think it was like 2013, I was kind of shocked.
Yeah.
Because when I first discovered Bitcoin was a $200 million market cap coin. So seeing Litecoin like far exceed that is shocking, right? I didn't expect that. So when I created Litecoin, I didn't expect much out of it. So I'm constantly shocked of what Litecoin has done. But yeah.
I feel like in 10 years, it'll be really, really shocking, right? The
10 years
path where everything's headed on, yeah.
Yeah, who knows, right? 10 years is a long time in this space.
Exactly.
All right, that's it for me, Grant. You good?
Yeah, thanks for inviting me in, and thanks for everything, Charlie. Appreciate it. What you do,
Yeah.
and I think
Charlie.
You're just a great pseudo leader of Litecoin, and we all appreciate you.